that we are looking for, He tells them, rejoice. This was how your fathers treated the prophets, the true prophets. The true prophets who relied on God. They were maligned, they were ridiculed, they were dispossessed, but in the end, they're truly blessed. So you can look back to the prophets. Look back to Jeremiah of the first reading. Look back to Isaiah and Amos and all these great men and women of old. They were poor. They hungered. They wept. They were persecuted. But because they were steadfast in their faith and hope in God, they are truly blessed. So we see that Jesus is talking about blessedness not in a person's relationship with the goods of the earth, but blessedness found in our relationship with God. Now, this passage ends with the opposite of blessedness. Jesus has a list of woes, those who are cursed. And who are they? They who are rich. Rich in this earth, but rich without God. Jesus talks about those who are full of the good things of this earth, but not full of God. They are full without God. Woe to you who laugh now. Those who laugh without God. You know, if we look at ourselves, there are many times when we were rich without God. When we were full without God. And we were joyful, hilarious, filled with hilarity and laughter without God. And I'm sure all of us had that temptation of saying, wow, I don't want God. I want to have it my way. I want to have the joy that the world offers without God. And in the end, God becomes killjoy. God becomes the enemy of our joy, of our wealth, of our being rich, of being full. But Jesus is telling His audience as He addresses us now, do not be misled. For a while you think you are blessed and happy that way. You are filled with yourself. You are rich with yourself. You rejoice with yourself. In the end, wow, you are cursed. That is not true blessedness. And He says, the false prophets were treated the same way. The false prophets got all praises. They got good things from the earth, but in the end, they were proven to be false. Now, the choice is before us, consistently, from Jeremiah to St. Paul, and here in the Gospel, coming from Jesus. Where do we locate happiness? Is it in God? In being filled with God? In being joyful in God? In being rich in God? And to be rewarded by God? Or would we settle for being joyful according to the norms of this earth, but eliminating God? I find happiness without God. I find my reward without God. And I find my joy and my being filled apart from God. I hope, learning from the prophets of old, learning from the Apostle Paul, and learning from the greatest of all, Jesus, that we choose God, for it is in God that we find true happiness and blessedness. But if we choose God, we should be ready to be poor according to the standards of this world, to be hungry and thirsty according to this world, to be sad according to this world, but to be filled with God. I know this will be a challenge, no? If I'm allowed to use a term, this is a challenge to be countercultural. You will look weird in the eyes of the world if you follow this path of blessedness. But if we believe in the Word of God as exposed to us by the prophets, by the apostle, and by Jesus himself, then we better think and rethink the norms of blessedness. Let me end this with a story. You know, in the Asian Mission Congress that was held in Chiang Mai, Thailand, on telling the story of Christ, I was so touched by the sharing of one person, a good Catholic leader, a lay person from Thailand. I've known him for a period of time now, but I did not know his life story till that Congress. He told us that he was really, he has reached already the pinnacle of wealth, of prestige in the company that employed him. Wow, you cannot imagine. No? He was fully trusted by that multinational corporation, and he handled, big amounts of money, large amounts of money. He handled so many people in Thailand. No? So, if you want to say it was a dream job, and you cannot ask for more. But then the financial crisis came. His company lost, and he lost his job. And in fact, there were even some cases that were being levied against him because he was the top person. It was a reversal of his life, from the top to the bottom, from having everything to having nothing. There was even a time when his children would have to stop going to school. And what he was so afraid of, begging from relatives and friends, had to happen. Imagine the person who used to give out and give away without minding whether this is extra or what, now would have to beg. But then he said, after an initial moment of remonstrating with God, blaming himself, blaming the economic system, everything, he was brought to his knees. And the Beatitudes became real for him. Then he realized there could be blessedness in being poor. There is blessedness in hunger. There is blessedness in weeping if God enters my life. And he said, when he realized that, total peace came to him. He did not rebel anymore. And he clung to God as his peace and joy. And now, he is a very good Catholic lay leader in his parish, finding joy in leading people to God, finding joy in meeting guests like me in the airport and leading me, bringing me to the places. A very menial job being done by a former executive. But I tell you, he exudes peace and joy. You will envy his joy and peace. I hope we won't wait for the time when everything is lost for us to discover true peace and joy and wealth in God. Right now, do it. Take the path of blessedness. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.